The Texas Longhorns had their spring game this past Saturday. We have a lot to unpack. Just beautiful. We got football back on the television screen. Your Longhorns are playing 11-11 football, tackle football for the most part. It's a good time. The thing that jumped out to me, man, how about the just array of weapons they have offensively? Like, you go down the line here, A.D. Mitchell, Michael Jordan, one-hand grab in the end zone. Xavier Worthy tiptoeing the sideline on a deep pass catch from Quinn Ewers, and he's looking saucy, almost getting in the end zone. Very close, no cigar, but still had a good day. Savion Red, we've been telling y'all about him, translating from wide receiver to running back room and looking good doing it. Jonte Cook, the young blood, been on campus for like 17 minutes, catching a deep touchdown pass from Malik Murphy. We could go on and on here, but the fact remains there is a lot of ballers at skill positions at Texas, and that translated to the field. We'd heard a lot about it during spring practice, and on paper it looked good, but to see them do it in an 11-on-11 setting just felt good to see if you're a Texas Longhorn fan. Just put something on the resume. Your tape is your resume in college football. So to add it to the resume, it's a very good thing, even if it is only a spring game. Now, here's why this is significant. The more ballers you have, the more the defense has to give those ballers attention. And so if I'm double teaming A.D. Mitchell, well, guess what? I can't then afford to double team Xavier Worthy and then still feel good about what I got to do with Jatavian Sanders. And oh, by the way, Savion Red and Cedric Baxter. Like, there's only so much grass to be covered and only 11 players on defense. And oh, by the way, you have to also worry about the run as well as the pass. Like, you can't overcommit. And so the more that you can make the defense feel pressure for these skill players, advantage Texas. And so some of the things that people have said about Steve Sarkisian at Texas and maybe some of the caveats they've had to why he hasn't had the success they want him to have is you look at what he did at Alabama, you say, well, yeah, that was Alabama. Look at who he had on that offense. Look at the wide receiver room. Look at who he had playing quarterback. Now at Texas, based on this roster, based on what I saw in that spring game, I'm saying, hey, it wasn't Alabama out there, but it might be the next best thing. It might be the best group he's had personnel-wise from a skill player standpoint since he's been at Texas. The more dangerous you can be at all these different positions, the more pressure you can put on a defense, the more points you're likely able to score. More mismatches, okay? The game's about matchups, and Texas has a good opportunity to create a lot of matchups that they like given this skill set that they have available to them in all these rooms. So keep an eye on that. Again, it's good to see it during the spring game. We're just taking a temperature, no absolutes, but it's a good feeling if you're a Texas Longhorn fan. We're going to talk about this quarterback room in just a second. Texas Longhorn fans, make sure you're subscribed. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. We've had a lot of y'all join the channel. We're going to keep talking about your Longhorns. So lock it in right here. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at JDPakel. Now, the quarterback room was what everybody was watching this past Saturday. Like, let's be real. We all wanted to see Quinn Ewers and where he was at after the spring. We had heard about he chopped the mullet off and he's maybe taking this thing. You know, this is fan speak again. Fan speak is saying maybe he's taking it more seriously. Maybe he's locked and loaded now. Whether that was true or not, he looked good. Okay, he was 16 for 23, 195 yards, a touchdown. Again, almost had two. The nice deep pass to Xavier Worthy set out another touchdown within the red zone. He led scoring drives. Like, I could take or leave the deep passes. Like, I love to see it. It's phenomenal. As a fan, that fires you up. What I wanted to see was, would he lead scoring drives? Would my starting quarterback get us in the end zone in our spring game? And he did that. That was encouraging to me. Now, you zoom out a little bit. What you saw in that spring game from Quinn Ewers, I don't think it's a finished product, but I think the sentiment behind the scenes at Texas and within that fan base is, this is closer to what we need from Quinn Ewers going forward. If we can see this consistently, we get this version of Quinn Ewers every single week, we're going to be in good shape. And if he progresses, as you would hope he does from spring to fall camp, we're going to be in good shape. So overall, the temperature is this thing's headed the right direction with Quinn Ewers. This excites you if you're a Texas fan. You're seeing the maturation. You're seeing him look comfortable. You can be the quarterback and not be the guy. Quinn Ewers in this spring game, to me, looked a lot more like he was taking steps towards being the guy at Texas. And he was obviously, after the spring game, Steve Sarkisian named him the starting quarterback, which we all already kind of knew. I got more feelings about that one, which we'll talk about in a second. But Malik Murphy, we got to talk about him, man. We hadn't really seen much of Malik Murphy up to this point. He was kind of the unsung hero. Every time we had a conversation around Arch and Quinn Ewers and the quarterback battle that the media had been pushing, the clickbait media rather, not us here, but the clickbait media had been pushing, Malik Murphy is a guy that's in the background just saying, hey, remember me? Remember what I can do? Remember my physical abilities that I have? 9 for 13, 165 yards, a touchdown. I believe he's going to be a factor in that backup quarterback race. There's very clearly a backup quarterback battle. Not a starting quarterback battle, a backup quarterback battle. And seeing him get out there and spin it, one, you feel like, okay, if Arch Manning does win the second quarterback job, he will have earned that. Second, you just feel a little bit better about the depth, especially after seeing Arch Manning in his first ever collegiate action, by the way, which we're going to talk about. You're like, okay, Malik Murphy is a good option. If everything goes to the dogs, Malik Murphy put something on tape to make you feel good if you're a Texas Longhorn fan. Now, Arch Manning's where I really want to bunker down here for a second, man, because we got to talk. Twitter is free. Twitter is phenomenal. Twitter is the source of a lot of good comedy. It's a lot of good information. But the reality is Twitter is overreactive. And true to form, Arch Manning goes out there 5 for 13, 30 yards, and Twitter just has a field day. Now, notice which kind of fan bases it was that was having field days with Arch Manning. I'll leave it at that, but it wasn't Texas Longhorn fans having a field day. It was opposing fan bases. Now, here's what I just want to make sure we all talk about. You're going to see over the course of, I guess, until fall camp, you're going to see the clips circulating of Arch Manning throwing an incompletion in the spring game. People say, man, if his last name wasn't Manning, and I've seen him already, if his last name wasn't Manning, he'd be a 3-star. He wouldn't even be at Texas. Okay, let's just pump the brakes right there. One, your school probably was recruiting Arch Manning pretty hard, trying to get him on campus to be your starting quarterback or to be your quarterback for that draft class, for that recruiting class. Other piece of this, a lot of other schools with head coaches that we all should trust and have a proven track record wanted Arch Manning. So just because he went 5 for 13 with 30 yards in practice 15 when he should be a senior in high school, if that to you makes him not a success as a college football player, it's going to be a while till we have an agreement on anything. Like, you can have an opinion on the spring game, but for that to be you're just, okay, that's what Arch Manning is to me now. You see him in the spring game? Yeah, I saw him in the spring game. Has he played a real college football game yet? No. I got sidetracked, but back to the point I was making. Nick Saban, the greatest of all time, wanted Arch Manning on his team. Kirby Smart, back-to-back national championships, put together elite recruiting classes at Georgia, proven track record of developing players, getting them to the NFL, wanted Arch Manning on his football team. So yeah, I trust Nick Saban and Kirby Smart on their evaluation of talent a little bit more than I do Jimmy Bob 42. Okay? Like, sorry, that's just the way that it goes. Love Twitter, but Twitter's a little bit overreactive. And for some reason, or in some small part, for that reason, we love it. But I just got to make sure we have an honest conversation. Arch Manning, what you saw in the spring game, cool. Got to see him get his legs wet a little bit, get his feet wet a little bit. I guess legs wet. He did jump in waist high. So that's what I feel about the quarterback room. Quinn Ewers, close to what you want. Malik Murphy, going to be a factor. Arch Manning, chill out. Chill out on the Arch Manning talk for us for just a little bit, all right? Now, defensively, it's hard to tell. Because on some ways you feel like, man, the offense put up numbers. Do we have an issue defensively? I wouldn't go that far. It's a spring game. Again, you can't make any total takeaways with this. You split the team up. The depth wasn't totally there that you would need to play good defense. T'Vondre Sweat, a guy they're excited about. Byron Murphy, a guy they're excited about. So they're going to have some pieces where they're going to be able to, I think, get done what they want to get done, if that makes sense. But for the spring game, it's too tough to really tell. You can watch the tape back and see Anthony Hill do some good things. We'll keep an eye on this as it formulates, but the big takeaways for me were offensively when I watched the spring game for Texas. I think the defense is going to develop further, and the depth is going to be really the key piece as we get into the fall, as it always is for any college football program. All right, so for Texas, it's headed the right direction. Good signs from the spring game, good takeaways, a lot of people healthy. That's very, very important. Okay, make sure you're subscribed right here. Make sure you're locked in right here on the On3 YouTube channel. We're talking ball tomorrow morning, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. Lock it in right here. We're going to see that video show up in your live feed as scheduled here pretty soon. Hit the bell so you don't miss when we go live. We'll have a blast doing it, right? We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.